Welcome back, everyone. Today, we have something truly chilling for you. I've been scouring the internet like deep into the dark corners of Reddit, and let me tell you guys, some creepy stuff is happening on Snapchat. These are 3 true Snapchat horror stories that will make you think twice before opening your next snap. Like seriously, you guys, these stories messed me up. I couldn't sleep, I couldn't eat, I was even too scared to open my phone. So, if you're brave enough, grab your blankie, turn off the lights, and get ready to dive into the terrifying world of Snapchat horror.
Okay, so imagine this. You're just scrolling through Snapchat, you know, like a normal person, sending dog filters to your bestie, checking out the latest memes, and maybe even sharing a funny video or two, and ignoring your crush's story. Everything's chill. Then bam, you get a snap from someone you don't recognize. It's a bit weird, but you think, hey, maybe it's just a friend of a friend. It's just a picture of a street, nothing too crazy. You're like, okay, wrong number, and you go to block the user. But there's this nagging feeling in the back of your mind. But then, another snap comes through. This time, it's a picture of your house. You're starting to freak out a little, right? You think, is this some kind of joke? Like, who is this person? And how did they get your Snapchat? You try to block them again, but the snaps just keep coming, each one more unsettling than the last. The next snap is even creepier. It's a picture of you sitting in your living room. You don't remember anyone taking this picture. You start to feel a chill run down your spine. You're home alone, and you start to feel like you're being watched. Your heart is racing, your palms are sweaty, and you can't shake this feeling that something is really wrong. You check the locks on your doors and windows, but it doesn't help. You try to rationalize it, tell yourself it's just a prank, but deep down you know it's not. The snaps keep coming, each one more personal, more terrifying than the last. You start to feel trapped in your own home. Pictures of you at school, at the mall, even inside your own bedroom. How is this even possible? You're desperate to make it stop. You feel like your privacy has been completely violated. You change your username, your profile picture, everything. But it's no use. The snaps just keep coming, like a stalker that knows your every move. You even consider deleting your account, but you're afraid it won't make a difference. You try talking to your friends about it, but they don't believe you. They think you're being paranoid, that you're making it up. They laugh it off, saying it's probably just someone messing with you. But you know the truth. Someone is watching you, and they're getting closer. The final snap is the most terrifying of all. You feel a sense of dread wash over you. It's a picture of you, sleeping in your bed. And the caption? I'm right outside. You scream, throwing your phone across the room. Your mind races with thoughts of who it could be. You jump out of bed, your heart pounding in your chest. You run to the window, but there's no one there. You feel a mix of relief and terror, unsure of what to do next. You try to convince yourself it's just a sick joke, but the fear is paralyzing. You can't shake the feeling that someone is out there, watching you, waiting for the right moment to strike. You consider calling the police, but what would you even tell them? You never find out who was sending the snaps, or how they knew so much about you. But one thing's for sure, you'll never look at Snapchat the same way again. The app that once brought you joy now fills you with unease and fear.
This next story is about a group of friends who experienced something truly terrifying on Snapchat. They were hanging out, just being typical teenagers when they got a snap from their friend, let's call her Sarah. Sarah had been missing for a few weeks and the police had no leads. Her friends were devastated and they missed her terribly. So, when they saw her name pop up on their phones, they couldn't believe their eyes. The snap was a selfie of Sarah, but something was off. Her eyes were red and swollen like she'd been crying, and there was a terrified look on her face. The caption simply said, "Help me."
At first the friends thought it was a cruel prank, someone trying to capitalize on their grief. But as more snaps came through, they started to realize that something was seriously wrong. The snaps showed Sarah in different locations, each one darker and more disturbing than the last. She was always alone, and she looked terrified. In one snap, she was tied to a chair, her mouth covered in duct tape. The friends were frantic. They tried calling Sarah's phone, but it went straight to voicemail. They contacted the police, but the authorities didn't take them seriously. They said it was probably just a hoax. Desperate for answers, the friends decided to take matters into their own hands. They used the clues in the snaps to try and track Sarah's location. It was like something out of a horror movie. They followed her digital trail, each snap leading them deeper into a web of mystery and terror. They discovered abandoned buildings, creepy woods, places they never knew existed in their quiet suburban town. Finally, after days of searching, they thought they were close. The last snap they received showed Sarah trapped in a dark basement, her eyes pleading for help. They could hear her muffled cries for help through the phone's speaker. They traced the location to an old abandoned house on the outskirts of town. The house was dark, dilapidated, and had an eerie silence hanging over it. The friends were terrified, but they had to find Sarah. They cautiously entered the house, their hearts pounding in their chests. The air was thick with the smell of decay and something else, something sinister. They called out for Sarah, their voices trembling with fear. They searched every room, every nook and cranny, but Sarah was nowhere to be found. The basement, where the last snap was taken, was empty. There was no sign of Sarah, no sign of anyone. The friends were devastated. They had come so close, only to hit a dead end. The snaps had stopped, and they were left with more questions than answers. What happened to Sarah? Who was sending the snaps? And why? The mystery of Sarah's disappearance remains unsolved to this day. The friends are haunted by the experience, forever changed by the terrifying ordeal, and they can't help but wonder, what if they had taken those snaps seriously sooner? Would they have been able to save her? The guilt and regret weigh heavily on their minds, a constant reminder of their lost friend. They often look back at old photos and memories, trying to piece together any clues they might have missed. They visit Sarah's favorite places, leaving flowers and mementos, hoping for some closure. Occasionally, they reach out to private investigators, hoping someone will take their case seriously. They even consider launching their own investigation, determined to find out what really happened. Late at night, they scour the internet for any similar cases, hoping to find a pattern or a lead. They post on message boards and social media, sharing Sarah's story, hoping someone, somewhere, knows something. Every year, they hold a candlelight vigil, keeping Sarah's memory alive and reminding the community that she is still missing. As they look up at the night sky, they hold onto a glimmer of hope that one day they will find the answers they seek. Until then, they find solace in each other, knowing that they did everything they could to find their missing friend. And they vow to never give up, no matter how long it takes. Okay. You guys, this last story is seriously messed up. It's one of those tales that makes you question reality itself. It's about a guy who starts receiving snaps from his own account, but he didn't send them. Imagine the confusion and fear that would cause. I know it sounds crazy, right? But it gets even weirder.
It all started innocently enough, just another ordinary day. He was just going about his day when he got a notification that he had a new snap. Nothing unusual, right? He opened it up and it was a picture of him sitting at his desk, working on his computer. It was like a mirror reflecting his current moment. He thought nothing of it at first. Maybe it was just a glitch or an accidental screenshot. Maybe he accidentally took a screenshot or something. It happens, right? But then, more snaps started coming through. Each one more unsettling than the last. Pictures of him at the gym, at the grocery store, even walking his dog. It was like someone was shadowing his every move. He knew he didn't take these pictures. The realization hit him like a ton of bricks. He checked his phone's camera roll, but they weren't there. It was as if they never existed. It was like someone else was using his account, documenting his every move. The paranoia started to set in.
He tried changing his password, but the snaps kept coming. It was like a relentless nightmare. He even contacted Snapchat, but they couldn't offer any explanation. Their support was as baffled as he was. He was starting to freak out. The anxiety was becoming unbearable. The snaps became more frequent, more invasive. It was like his privacy was being stripped away. Pictures of him in his apartment, in his bedroom, even in the shower. No place was safe. It was like someone was watching him, following him everywhere he went. The feeling of being constantly observed was suffocating.
Then, things took a sinister turn. The snaps started to reveal a darker side. The snaps started showing him doing things he had no memory of doing. It was like looking at a stranger wearing his face. Things he would never do. Actions that were completely out of character. There was a picture of him at a bar, flirting with a girl he didn't know. He was a faithful boyfriend. This was not him. Another one of him spray painting graffiti on the side of a building. Vandalism was not something he would ever consider. He even saw a picture of himself, passed out on a park bench, surrounded by empty beer bottles. He was horrified. He didn't drink. He knew he wasn't capable of any of those things. It was like his life was being hijacked. He didn't drink, he didn't do drugs, and he certainly wouldn't cheat on his girlfriend. His integrity was being questioned.
He tried to rationalize it, tell himself it was all just a big misunderstanding. Maybe there was a logical explanation. Maybe someone was playing a prank on him, a cruel, elaborate prank. But deep down, he knew something was terribly wrong. This was beyond a joke. The snaps were becoming more and more disturbing, each one more terrifying than the last. He saw pictures of himself yelling at his boss, getting into a fight with a stranger, even breaking into someone's car. His life was spiraling out of control. He was losing control of his life, his reputation, everything. It was like he was living someone else's nightmare. He felt helpless, like he was trapped in a nightmare he couldn't wake up from. Every snap was a new horror.
He started to question his own sanity. Was he going crazy? Was this all in his head? Was he capable of doing these things without even remembering? The doubt was eating him alive. He became withdrawn, isolated from his friends and family. He didn't want them to see him like this. He was afraid to leave his apartment, afraid of what he might do, afraid of who he might hurt. The fear was paralyzing.
The final snap he received was the most terrifying of all. It was the culmination of his worst fears. It was a picture of him, standing over a body, covered in blood. The scene was straight out of a horror movie. The caption simply said, "I'm in control now." The words sent chills down his spine.
He dropped his phone, his body trembling with fear. The reality of the situation was too much to bear. He knew he had to get help. He couldn't handle this alone. He had to tell someone what was happening before it was too late. He needed someone to believe him. He ran to the police station, desperate for help, his last hope. But when he showed them the snaps, they didn't believe him. They thought it was a hoax. They thought he was delusional, paranoid, maybe even dangerous. His pleas fell on deaf ears. He was all alone, trapped in a nightmare of his own making. The isolation was suffocating. He didn't know who to trust, who to turn to. Everyone seemed like a potential threat. He was lost, consumed by the fear that he was losing his mind, his life, his very identity. The doppelganger had taken over. And there you have it. 3 true Snapchat horror stories that are sure to haunt your dreams. I'm literally shaking right now just thinking about them. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more chilling tales. And be sure to share your own scary Snapchat stories in the comments below. I'm dying to hear them. Stay safe out there. And remember, not everything is as it seems on Snapchat. You never know who's watching, or what they might be capable of.